Hello and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the brand new Volkswagen T-Roc, already the fourth SUV in the lineup of the big German manufacturer and probably the hottest cake in the oven. Not only because it's entering the big segment of the small SUVs, no, because it's the most fancy car in the lineup. Touareg, Terramont in China, Atlas in North America and Tiguan are really serious cars for serious people, but they are somehow boring. That's totally different with the T-Roc. But if it not only looks good, it also drives good. That's what we're gonna find out here on Thomas Geiger Car. Especially when you drive the T-Roc on a highway like that, you feel the close relation to the Golf and the Tiguan and the benefit of the MQB architecture. Because compared to other small SUVs like the Toyota CHR or the Kia Stonic, the T-Roc feels way more mature on higher speeds. It's solid like a rock, it's confident and it's comfortable, and you can drive very long distances with very high speed without getting tired or nervous. While the T-Roc is the mature and solid long distance cruiser on the Autobahn, it changes its character completely when you change for a curvy country road like that. Usually small Volkswagens are not the big fun bringers. For example, the Polo is a great car, but way too rational to get your heart beating. With the T-Roc, it's a totally different story. You're sitting very low, close to the street, even with a higher ground clearance. You get a good grip for the steering wheel. The all-wheel drive gets you good traction, and you really have fun rubbing through the corners like you're sitting in a small sports car. Volkswagen is delivering the T-Roc with the biggest engine selection in the segment. In Europe, that means 3 diesels and 3 petrol engines, all with 115, 150 and 190 horsepower. If you look at the petrol engines, at the moment the most interesting one, it's starting with a 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. Then we have a 1.5-liter engine, and the top range engine is a 2-liter engine. The span is wide enough, but there is something missing, especially if you look at the Asian competitors like Toyota, Kia or Hyundai, because they all have any alternatives in their power lineup, talking about hybrid or even plug-in hybrids. This is something that would be possible in the T-Roc as well, because it's based on the MQB architecture, but Volkswagen is claiming the car is going to get too expensive if they build it. So probably the only alternative that will come in the near future is the natural gas version, which is Volkswagen's answer to the diesel scandal at the moment. The T-Roc is not only looking very aggressive and sporty, it's also driving quite ambitious, especially if you pick the top engine, the 2-liter TFSI 4-cylinder turbocharger, which delivers 190 horsepower. That's enough to get the car from 0 to 100 in a little bit more than 7 seconds and to reach a top speed of 228 kilometers per hour. Quite impressive for a small SUV, but not enough for the Volkswagen engineers. That's the reason why they already presented an R-Line design package at the Frankfurt Auto Show, and that is the reason why they are eyeing for a more powerful engine derivative as well. There are talks in Wolfsburg that Volkswagen is planning a T-Roc GTI or even a T-Roc R with way more than 200 horsepower. Volkswagen is taking the idea of the SUV more serious than other companies in that segment. Because while most of the competitors are only offered with front-wheel drive, Volkswagen is at least offering the all-wheel drive as an option. It's not cheap, but it gets you way ahead of the competition. You probably don't want to dig through the mud or climb through the mountains with the car, but on a path like that, you're well prepared for any obstacle that might come. Since Volkswagen is offering the T-Roc with all-wheel drive, they also use different driving profiles. There's a small rotary switch behind the gear lever which adjusts the different drive modes. There are two off-road modes, there is one special winter and snow mode, and there are several setups for regular everyday driving, from eco to a comfort setup up to a sporty setup that we witnessed just before. Another benefit of the MQB architecture is the wide array of driver assistance systems that are available for the T-Roc. Lane departure warning and blind spot detection is standard on any car, and for a little money more you will get nice features like the LED headlamps, like pedestrian recognition and auto emergency braking in traffic jams, and you even get an adaptive distance cruise control that keeps the distance to the car in front of you. That's quite unique in this segment of SUVs. As we already know it from Polo and Golf, also the T-Roc has the recent infotainment generation of the Volkswagen Group, which means I got the active info display, the digital instruments behind the steering wheel, and that big tablet-like touchscreen in the center console. It's not only looking good, it's really easy to use, even if I don't have the gesture control of the Volkswagen Golf. So I can tip into the maps, for example, zoom out, zoom in, swipe, change the way I view into that, and I can even get the map behind the steering wheel. With its roughly 4.20 meters of length, the T-Roc is at the upper end of the segment of the small SUVs. But in the inside, it's not the biggest one. You're riding very comfortable in the front row and you don't miss the Tiguan for a minute. And the trunk is really big with way more than 400 liters of volume. But in the second row, especially for a grown-up like me, it's somehow tight. Headroom is very good, even with the fast roofline and the coupe shape. But for the knees and for the legs, it's a bit difficult. And getting in and getting out means you have to be a real gymnastic person. Volkswagen is especially proud of the fancy design of the T-Roc. At least that's what they call fancy in Wolfsburg. But to be honest, dual color schemes, contrast painting and some chrome lines you will definitely find at other small size SUVs as well, even if it's a quite impressive number of combinations you can get for the T-Roc. But something really unique is the new daytime running light, because Volkswagen took it out of the LED headlights and placed it down in the bumper. That gives the T-Roc a remarkable face and a distinctive look, even if the sun is gone. With its roughly 4.20 meters in length, the T-Roc fits perfectly in the Volkswagen lineup. It might be a little bit bigger than many of its competitors, but it has exactly the same size as the Golf, and it's 20 centimeters shorter as the Tiguan. That's a difference you feel when you try to get a parking spot in a dense city. But overall, the most important thing is its great look. Because Volkswagen has tilted the rear window and gave it almost a coupe style, the T-Roc is way more dynamic and looks better than any other SUV Volkswagen has ever built. Thank you for joining me on that first test drive with the brand new Volkswagen T-Roc. It's a bit like always with the Germans. They're late, but they're coming with a lot of power. But there's also something different this time, because the T-Roc is not only a great car, it's also a great looking car, and it seems to make the Audi Q2 or the Skoda Karoq somehow boring. If it's true that the segment of the small SUVs is growing faster than any other segment and sales will double within the next years, this car has the potential to be the best-selling Volkswagen overall. Thank you, Tschüsschen, and bye-bye.